Hello, everybody. Welcome to our final official call. You guys will also be getting a safety call that is sent out to you as well with some safety tips for our open houses. I am thrilled to be here and thrilled to be your coach. I am Brittany Purcell. And this week, if you can see me, I actually have a video because I'm not on the road in Tucson. So it's a much better day in a much better situation. Can everybody hear me? If you could pop into the questions, let's make sure that somebody says yes, so I know that I can proceed. Awesome. Thank you, Angela. All right. So awesome. I love you guys. You guys are so awesome. So let's get started on today's content. I'm going to I forgot how to minimize it. There it goes. All right. So today, what we're going to really go through is what happens after the open house. You have held an open house, you've built up the rapport, you've been talking to these people, hopefully you've had your signs inside of there, your Keller Mortgage signs, you've been using your scripts, you've been building rapport, and now it is, to me, the most important part of all of this is what do you do once you leave? What happens once you leave this house? What are the etiquette signs? What do you do for the seller? What do you do for these prospective buyers? What do you do for other agents as well? And I think this is really where the money is made, because you may have built a really great relationship up front. Do you foster that relationship and do you grow it and do you earn business thereafter? By the way, all of you real estate agents, one of the things that you're notorious for is bad follow-up. You're not the only people. Every salesperson across the world is bad at follow-up because they don't have systems. Something, if you guys think about it, the last large ticket item that you bought, maybe a car, maybe something else, think back and ask yourself, did they have a really good follow-up system? And if you had a really great follow-up system, then you probably had a car salesperson calling you incessantly until you finally bought a car. Or you may have popped in and never heard from them again, and it didn't matter. Some of you have even been on the receiving end of poor follow-up, even when you wanted to be followed up with. You asked for more information, and nobody ever got back to you. So you've been on the receiving end of this. Let's work on systems and models, tools that support you so that you guys get the follow-up. Gary has done some research with some of the larger teams inside of Keller Williams and outside of Keller Williams. And one of the things that he's discovered is that over 80%, write this down, over 80% of the mega agents, like netting $1 million businesses, 80% of their businesses is coming from follow-up. That means it was not on the first contact. It was on the second, third, fourth, 27th touch that we finally earned that business. And so if you're not doing well with follow-up, or you have not implemented a great system for follow-up right now, then what I can guess is that most of your business is coming from they raised their hand, or you prospected, you got lucky, the first phone call, the first contact was when they said yes to an appointment, and then you did a really good job at closing for that business. Now, that's a good thing. However, if all of your business is coming from that, then that means you're only realizing 20% of your potential right now. So this is where the magic is in this last conversation is what are the systems, what are the tools that you're using to follow up and keep people on your radar? Because a great relationship in real estate is not just, I was really great at an open house. You end up finding people that want to do business with you because you never stopped creating value and you never stopped offering them information, checking in on them, finding out what was going on in their family, etc. It's going to be part of the relationship. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let's assume that you just finished the open house. The last person just walked out. There's nobody else in the driveway, and you're about to close up. You are going to lock the front door. I know this seems so silly, guys, but you're going to lock the front door first. Then you're going to quickly walk back through the house. This is a safety thing, and it's a courtesy thing. I want you to walk back through that house. I want you to check and make sure every window is shut and locked. I need you to check on that. This is sometimes if there's going to be a perp, criminal that's going to do something, one of their tricks is to come into the house, act really awesome and really suave, and then while you're not looking, open or unlock a window so that they can come back later. You are the front lines of defense for your client or for your other person's client. Go ahead and make sure every single window is shut and locked. Every door is shut and locked. And my only caveat to that is check with the seller, because sometimes, I live out in the country, sometimes they don't lock a specific door because that's their ticket in. Last thing you want is to upset your client or somebody else's client because you locked them out of the house. That happened to me before. It's happened on my team before. And so double check with them, ask them if there's any doors that they'd like to be left unlocked, and leave that one unlocked. Everything else should be closed up, locked, and all lights should be turned off. If you opened blinds, make sure those blinds are shut back. Anything that was done to prep for the open house, you should be leaving that house in the same condition that you left it in. This is common courtesy, guys. If people have tracked in dirt or anything like that, you need to be sweeping it up. This is your job. It's not the seller's job. So make sure that you're, using your courtesy, right? And you're also checking for security things as well. You're going to collect your signs, remove balloons if you have any, and then before you leave, like before you drive home, I would ask you guys, go ahead and text message or call the listing agent, or if it's your client, you're calling the seller directly. And I want you to go ahead and tell them, how did the open house go? You want to call them with how many guests came through, like how many families was it and how many people came through? Did anybody have an agent already? Did anyone seem like they were interested in writing an offer? Was there any feedback that was coming back to them that would be valuable to them? If I'm a seller and I've left my house and we're holding this open house today, I'm going to want to know, did 10 people come through, and did any of them seem like they might be interested in writing an offer? If they did seem like they're writing an offer, what's your plan, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, to go get that offer for me? I want to know not only were they interested, but what are you about to do about it? What comes next? That was a big sales customer service technique that I was taught a long time ago, is tell the client what's about to happen next. The other thing is you want to give this immediate feedback, because they need to know, do they keep their hopes up, or did reality just hit? We have a really hard time with that sometimes as real estate agents. We want to keep people like super excited and motivated, and yet the market is the market, right? And so if we didn't have anybody come in, that is feedback. If we only had one person come in and they said it was overpriced, that's feedback, and they need to get that feedback. If this is not your listing, I would advise that you give that feedback to the agent who has it listed, so that you can, protect the professional boundaries and not send their client into a spiral. You don't know what conversations they've had in the past. But either way, if it's your client, you're texting your client. If it's not your client, then you're texting the listing agent, calling the listing agent, and letting them know how many people came through, any positive or negative feedback, and then what the ratios were, how many people were represented, how many people were not represented, and if there's any action plans for anybody that came through as well. They want to know what's happening next. And before I move on to next, I know I've harped on that a little bit here. I need you guys to think about, many of you have not sold a home before, not on the real estate side. You have not sold your own home in either a long time, or some of you never have. I know a lot of people who get into real estate and they've never even owned a home before. And it's really exciting that this opportunity is available to them, but there's a certain level of emotional experience that you have not had if you have not had to sell a house. And so what I want you to do is put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's gotten really excited about pursuing their dreams. Okay, you guys just lost sound. I'm going to give it just a second. Can somebody tell me if you have sound back yet? All right, Whitney, it seems like everybody else can hear. So I'm going to keep my phone exactly where it is. Hopefully you can hear me at this point in time. Hopefully it hits the recording okay. I did keep the presentation on the internet, and then I've put my phone, I've done the audio through my phone. So hopefully we don't have any inconsistencies. Going back to this. So if you have not been the seller and attempted to sell your home, guys, I don't know how else to word this. You just don't know what it feels like to be in their shoes. And To be in their shoes means to have your hopes up, to be really excited, to be stressed every single day and wondering if that next person coming through is going to write an offer or not. We're used to looking at it through our eyes as the realtor, and we're worried about disappointing the client. This person lives in this house every day. They either love this house or hate this house, but either way, they want to get out. They are in love with their dreams. And so they're very emotional about every single aspect of this. Most of the time, they've put a lot of effort into getting the house ready for an open house, and they were looking forward to hearing the results. If you say it was a great open house, 5 people came through, and you end the conversation there, it's just not enough to calm the curious and stressed minds of our sellers. It's your responsibility to give them as much information as you can within reason, and you kind of want to filter it a little bit, but not overly filter, because sometimes the negative or constructive feedback is exactly what they need to hear. You may have told them to paint all of those rooms, and then 6 buyers come through and go, whoa, that's a really bright room. And you can say, by the way, I want you to notice that there were a bunch of people that came through today that said that the paint colors were really loud. And I would anticipate that when they go home, the one thing that they remember was that the paint colors were really loud. You remember that conversation that we had in the listing appointment? This is becoming distracting, and I'm asking you, begging you, please paint the room in neutral color. I'll even help you pick the colors. But if we're serious about selling, we want to remove any distractions so people can see the house for what it is and envision themselves there, right? So you want to give the feedback, but you also want to deliver it in a professional manner. So please, 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 if it's not your listing, don't call the seller directly and tell them they need to reduce the price. Call the listing agent and say, listen, 10 people came through, 5 of them offered feedback. Every single one said they loved the house and the price was too high. Okay, so give them that feedback. Let's see here. Follow up with the guests that come to the open house. This is going to be a big one, guys. This is where we start to really hit what's going to happen immediately after. So you've communicated with the listing agent, you've communicated with the seller, if that's the person you should be communicating with. And before the day is over, you should be sending some type of communication to everyone that attended. Okay, if they gave you email addresses, great. If they gave you phone numbers, great. I think it's really nice to send either an email or a text message and just say, thank you so much for coming. And if they are interested in more information on the house, we should be sending them the link to the house. So there's something that came up with part of my team that we were talking about. We were printing a lot of paperwork, and I asked them, what are you guys printing? I see we have a big bill at the printers, and I'm trying to figure out what all are we printing, and is it valuable? And if it is, keep printing it. If it's not, let's cut the expense. Well, it turns out they were printing like 20 packets for each open house with the seller's property disclosure, a flyer, and a Keller Mortgage flyer. And I stopped. That's not going to help you in any shape, form, or fashion. You print one packet with the cover sheet with whatever information, like if it's the MLS sheet or something fancy that you did just for that listing. Then you can have a Keller Mortgage flyer or your lender's flyer, and then the property disclosure, and staple it all together, and you have one copy. So when people are in the open house and they're asking you for more information, you go, I only have one copy of this. You're welcome to peruse through it right now, but I only have one copy. If you'd like more information, just put your email address down right here, and I'll put a star next to it, and I'll make sure to send that to you before the end of the day. Then you just email them the packet, but you also got their contact information. Guys, there's a reason we don't do flyers out in front of houses anymore, because there's no follow-up. If you don't have contact information, you have no follow-up. And so with that, I just want to make sure you guys are thinking strategically. How can I give people the information they're looking for, but how can I also get what I need, which is their contact information, so that later I can follow up and say, did you get it? Did you appreciate it? Did you have any questions? Was there anything on there that kept you from writing an offer? Blah, blah, blah. Now, if somebody is asking you for more information, one of the best little tips and tricks that I can tell you guys is to, and I told you this on an earlier call, I'm going to remind you again, when you're on your own website, you search for that house. Find it on your own website and make that the listing that's on there, the single listing that's come up on the screen. Copy and paste the URL and then send that to people. That becomes the URL in which you say, here's more information about the house. Let me know if you need anything. Here's the public page for it. And of course, we can send them the property disclosure, etc. The reason I'm asking you to pull it from your website is so that if they don't like that house, they can click the button that's right above it that says search for more homes. Every quality real estate website has that button, and it encourages them to search for more and plug into your website, your app, whatever it is. Please do not send them to Zillow. Do not send them to your MLS's website. Don't send them anywhere else but to your website where you have the chance to capture them and enroll them a little bit further in your process. So you've sent them, you've either called, texted, emailed, thanked them for coming in. That's going to be the basic contact immediately. We should do this before the day is over. Then what I want you to do is I want you to enter every single guest into Command with a listing alert, okay? So if you did a Google form and they're all in a CSV file, this is going to be so easy. You just download the CSV file, you upload it into Command, and then you go in for that most recent upload and you tag them all as an open house lead, okay? So they're in there. If you took it all on paper, then you're going to be handwriting or hand typing some things. It's okay. All that matters is, are you putting them into your CRM to make sure that we don't lose them? Because I don't know, guys, the last piece of paper I wrote some names on, I don't have any idea where it is. It's got to get into the system. Then I want you to put them on a listing alert immediately for a general price point and a general area that's just like the house you just held an open house. I'm about to give you a script. As soon as you've set them up on a listing alert, what I want you to do after that is I want you to send them an email. And you're going to send them an email that says, thank you so much for coming to the open house, whatever you want to say. By the way, I added you to a listing search that will keep you up to date with similar homes hitting the market. Are these parameters okay, or would you like for me to change them? Since they come straight off the MLS, they're far more accurate than Zillow or Realtor.com or Trulia, whatever you want to write there in that last sentence. Guys, we want to pull people off of these websites, get them away from all of those and onto your site so that you can see their frequency, how much are they on your website, are they saving anything, etc. Because if they have a listing alert, now they're getting something of value from you frequently. They're not having to go look for it. And the reason I do it without asking for permission is because I go ahead and I set it up like this and we send the email so that they come back. If they don't like the parameters, and you can tell them below, here's the parameters I chose. Since you were at this open house, I chose for homes in this zip code or this city or this block or this school district, whatever, in this price range. Then you're saying, would you like for me to change them? So you've already set it up. They're getting the listing alerts, but you've also given them permission to reply back to you to change it. If they reply back to you to change it, you're starting to actually have a relationship and a conversation. Then what we really need to do is have a long-term follow-up plan. This is where a lot of people really mess up, and you're going to have to gauge the usage. How much are they logging back into the website? How often are they responding? And then you'll have to use little tips and tricks like the occasional text message in your systems that says, hey, just checking, did you ever buy a house? Because I saw a really good deal today and I didn't know if you'd want to know about it. You see, buyers are looking for information that they can't find on their own. We are in a technology age. They are able to find, oops, I went too far. They are able to find a lot of information that they otherwise wouldn't have found, right? They can find the listings. They can find out how long they've been on the market. They can find out if they went under contract and then fell apart. All of this information is showing up on things like Redfin and Zillow, and we want to make sure that we are providing value above and beyond what they can actually do themselves, because that's where they're gonna say, hey, you're worth hiring because you are either teaching me something that I don't already know, or you're doing some legwork for me that's making it to where I don't have to do it myself. And I would say that checking in and then offering items of value, especially when they haven't responded in a long time. Think about things like checking in on them and following up with the forward conversation. If you found out a little bit about them, follow back up on their family, their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams. Has anything changed for them? Has anything been working out really well for them? You can also just love on them and then check in on where they are in their buying process. Talk to them about rate changes. You guys should be buddy all the time with your mortgage lenders, and you should know what the rates are for different types of loans, what the special offerings are, what's working, what's not working. You guys should be also in depth into the knowledge about the refinancing, the renovation loans, like FHA's 203K and 203B, and then your local lenders. What's going on there? You need to know about it, because that's the stuff that they don't know about unless it comes on and pops onto a commercial or a radio ad, right? This is your chance to say, hey, I don't know if you're aware, but rates just dropped. All of your open house leads should get that email. And, would you like to see what your rates would be on the mortgage that you're thinking about getting? Would you like to see how this would affect your payment? Call me, text me, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. And then the other thing that we want to give them, because they are technically a buyer, if it was a buyer lead that came in, is we want to make sure that they're seeing listings that are deals, listings that are special, listings that haven't hit the market yet. You might want to tailor some of your touches to, I haven't heard from these people in a while, so I'm attempting to drum up, some more communication and figure out who's still a prospect and who's not. You might want to say, I was out looking with a buyer last week and I found quite a few potential investment properties that are a really great deal. If anybody in this group, if you're sending a group email, would like to know more information about those listings, please reply. They're not on the market, or they are on the market, but there's something special about them. Be thinking about what you can do to really add value. Because if you're just another realtor saying, can I help you buy a house? Can I help you buy a house? It's going to get old eventually. Be thinking about how you can add value and how you can dig into that relationship. There's something called the law of proximity. And the law of proximity says that people will choose to do business with people that they're close to, right? Close to physically, like they see them all the time, close to emotionally, maybe they've had a really strong connection with this person, or close to in the fact that you may have been the last person to talk to them about real estate and your name is in their mind. And everybody, there's more people that have a real estate license than have a driver's license, it feels like. It's not really true, but I feel like it is. And if that's the case, then any one of the prospects that you talk to is probably on the path of another realtor. And if they're willing to come to your open house, they're also going to other open houses. They're also calling signs occasionally. They're also registered on somebody's website. So everything that you can do to kind of close that gap, build that relationship as quickly and as deeply as possible is going to earn you that business. And you kind of have to hit it from all angles, because you never know. Do you have a millennial that's not going to talk to you until they're ready to make a purchase? Or do you have somebody that's going to pick up on that relationship right there in the open house? And whether you bonded with them then or not is going to be the kicker for them. You've got to be on your A game in all of these different ways. And you also have to continue to follow up with them over time. I would say, though, if you have somebody in your system for 6 or more months that does not respond to any of the communications that you guys give, you're more than welcome to delete them from your system. If they're checking the emails, if you have any way to find out if they're checking and they're still opening emails, I would probably keep that person still in my database, because they may just not be a two-sided communicator yet. But if they're not opening and they're not responding, they're not doing anything, I would go ahead and remove those people from your database. It's just a waste of energy for you. Otherwise, when people say, how long do I follow up with people? Forever. I mean, these are people in your community that you could bond with. You might be able to meet them, talk to them, provide value for them. And who knows, even if they don't buy or sell, what if they're a future recruit for Keller Williams and they grow your profit share tree? What if you decide to grow a team and they might have decided, based on everything that you did, they might be a really great real estate agent because they liked what you did. You never know where that relationship is going to go. And if the communication is completely shut down, then I would give you permission to remove them from the database. Otherwise, they should stay, and they should at least be getting listing alerts and your event notifications, like we're having an open house or this, that, and the other. Lindsay, you asked for an example. What were you asking for an example of? I'm sorry, I just looked up and saw that. Lindsay responds. Lindsay may have stepped away. I'm not sure. All right, guys. What questions do you have for me? Because this really rounds out what do you do, what do you not do, how do you follow through with an open house, what do you need to be thinking about, what are the systems? I've given you guys the scripts, I've given you guys the etiquette, I've given you everything that you need to really thrive in an open house. What questions have I still not resolved for you? What questions do you still have that you go, well, what about this? Please feel free to throw those in the questions box. Erin, that's a great question. So let me, I'm actually going to show you from my screen here. So I'm going to switch over here, and I'm going to go to my website. If my internet would like to play. It is raining here, so. All right, can you see my website, Erin? Can you type a yes? Okay, awesome. So if I'm going to, say my house is in this city, I'm just going to pick a random one. So, all right, this is the only one that even looks kind of pretty. So I'm just going to click it. Maybe. All right. So I'm here. I'm on my own website. I have found the listing. This one just happens to be Lewis Circle. When I'm on here, I'm going to go up to the very top, and I'm going to copy and paste this URL right here. This is what I'm going to want to send to people, because if they click on it, they can see over here on the right, like schedule a showing, ask a question, share the listing. They can check more stuff. They can look at more photos. And then they go, oh, wait, look, I'm on a website. I can search for more, or I can find my home value, or whatever. I mean, whatever they want to click on there, it's going to allow them to deep dive into the website. So you don't necessarily have to create a website. I would hope that you have a website. Whitney, I would ask you to draft yourself a couple of different touches. She asked how many touches in the first 2 weeks after an open house. If you're getting a ton of traffic, a ton of communication back, I would say as much as is necessary. I would probably advise that, the initial phone call, that initial email, feel how they respond back, and then put them on a listing alert. And I would probably follow up once a week unless something they told me and said to me indicated that I should pull back for any reason. If they have said, we're not interested right now, I'd say, great, do you want me to slow down your listing alerts to like once a week or something like that? I still want to provide value. I don't want to shut down the conversation or the relationship, but I want them to know how to find me in the future, because they will likely forget our name if they're not getting anything from us. And if they start responding back quickly, I'm probably going to respond a lot more, depending on what they need or what they ask for. Again, though, if you start getting a lot of questions, your first job is to close them for appointment. So it sounds like the next best step for us is to get together. So when would you like to meet? I can stop by your house, your apartment, or I can meet you at my office. So Anthony, you're asking about getting people to sign up on your sign-in list. Were you on last week's call? Because we went over a couple of different scripts for that. So if you did not get on that call, I would ask you to go back and listen to the last few calls, and same with your other question. They were both answered in some of those other sessions, and they're recorded and they're in Basecamp. So you can reach out to Maps at KW if you do not have access to Basecamp, and they can make sure that you have access and make sure that all of this is loaded. I believe the recordings are available for 30 days after the sessions are over. So thank you, Whitney. Awesome. What other questions do you guys have that we have not covered so far? All right. So here's the deal, guys. Safety is of utmost importance. I have done an entire session on just safety, and I will be recording that and emailing that out to you, or putting it in, I'm sure it'll be put into Basecamp for you. I would advise, I don't care if you're a guy, if you're a girl, if you are tall, if you're small, if you're trained in Taekwondo, if you're not trained in Taekwondo, whatever. I don't care what it is. I don't care how many self-defense meetings you've been to or classes you've been to. I would really appreciate if you listen to that call, because there might be some things that surprise you, things you hadn't thought of. I would just ask you to be very aware of your safety. I would ask you to do that no matter what type of real estate you're doing. Anytime that you're showing a vacant home, nobody else is there but you, there needs to be a lot of things that you do to protect yourself. Criminals are opportunists, and it's not just at open houses. So anybody that says, I don't hold open houses for the safety, you might as well say, I don't show houses for safety, because it's the same thing. Anytime that you're working with the public and you're going into a vacant home, you guys need to be doing some things to protect yourselves. And that call will be coming after. You do not have to attend live on that call. It'll be recorded and sent out. You can listen to it on your own time, and I think it'll be particularly valuable. And I knew my own practices, and I went out and surveyed other people's best practices, and I learned a lot when I was really looking at what are other people doing for safety. And there was a lot that I learned, even though I pride myself in being a very safe realtor. So I hope you find value in that. And if you guys ever have any questions, you can absolutely let me know. Whitney, I just saw your other question because I scrolled down. Is your listing alert a search set up in the MLS? If you only have it set up through an MLS, that is still perfect. Some people do it directly from the MLS, and some people's websites have that capability behind the scenes to send a listing alert. Command should be, that's one of the things that they're working on. That's why they've been working so diligently to get our IDXs set up across the country. They did sign all of their contracts with every MLS across the United States. So I don't think there's going to be a problem. It's just the technology. So be watching. Command should have listing alerts coming right behind it if they're not already live. And that's Gary's goal, is that everything is in one place, so that you could have somebody register, like you create a landing page in Command, they register, it auto tags them, they slide into Command with the correct open house tag and everything else that you've told it to do. And this is the eventual vision, is once they're tagged in there, if you created a smart plan that says, when this person registers on this website and then gets tagged as this, then I want you to do this. So part of your systems can be automated, and it'll automatically start that smart plan for you. And when you get back to a computer, you can set them up on a listing alert right there in Command that'll hopefully be linked with your MLS and the IDX searches there. I don't think it's there yet. That is part of the vision, though, is so that you guys, when you're logging in, you can do everything under one roof. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because I know it'll make my life a lot easier, and I'm sure yours too. But as of right now, Whitney, I would definitely put them into your MLS, and then go check on them, because sometimes the MLS ones expire after a certain amount of time. I know mine do. So you want to make sure you're looking at it frequently. All right. Any other questions? All right, guys, you have the plan now. You have the tools. It's up to you whether or not you're going to implement them at a high level. A friend of mine taught a class at one point in time. He runs a massive, massive business. And people said, why are you here teaching? Aren't you afraid that people are going to steal all of your techniques? And he said something that it was kind of a jab to a lot of people. And I just truly believe it. He said, I'm not worried, because only 1% of you will even try. So I want you guys to think about, did you just learn the information and you're going to learn it and you're never going to implement it? Or are you going to be one of the 1% who not only try it, but you develop your own systems and you make it better and you make it really, really strong? Because you can absolutely close 40 to 50 transactions a year yourself and then build a larger team, growing them on open houses alone if you develop the systems and if you take the time. So it's on you now. It's all up to you, and I hope you guys have. And yes, Whitney, I am doing the bonus call. It'll be my voice. I'll be doing it, but you won't have to attend it. It'll be uploaded into Basecamp for you guys. So you'll get a notice, just the same way you've gotten the notices for the other recordings that have been uploaded. All right, guys, I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your week. I would love it if you go on social media and share in the map page what kind of success you guys are having from the open houses. I'd be thrilled to hear it. I hope that you're getting a ton of business already, or at least you've taken the ideas and you're getting ready to implement them. Thank you all for being here. Bye.